Hi, hello, and welcome to the Energy of the Week. My name is Winona. Hi, how are you? How are you doing? How was last week? How does it feel to have Venus direct again, which is today, I believe, April 13th. Full moon in Libra and and full moon in Libra and Venus direct in Pisces. I'm not sure about you, but I did not have too many issues with the Venus retrograde. I actually felt like I'm not sure, but the slowness of the pace brought more gifts into my life. But let me know how that turned out for you. There might be just something really specific in my chart. So we're gonna go into this reading. I'm gonna do the same format as I did last week, which might be like the continuing format because I really like just pulling out the themes and pulling out messages for the week that embody what we will see. We are doing a reading for the week of April 14th to April 20th, 420, 2025. And I'm going to clear the space, actually. I got these really cool... there's like a local coffee shop near me, and I just noticed their Palo Santo sticks had like kind of this like cool, I'm not sure if it'll focus or if you can see it, but like the first time I saw markings on the wood, I thought it was really cool. So we're going to clear the space. I already set the intention, and we'll get into this reading. Okay, so we're going to start with an oracle card for the personality of this week using the Carolyn Myss Archetypes deck. What is the personality of this week? And so we have two cards. We're trying to get one, but two. So we have the Fool. I do feel like the energy of the Fool was coming in last week too, but this is the overall personality of this week. The Fool, fearlessly revealing emotion, helping people laugh at absurdity and hypocrisy. Right, and the Shadow is using humor to wound rather than liberate, denial of your emotional truth. And then we had the Avenger, and I believe it was in reverse. So Avenger, desire to balance the scales of justice, righteousness on behalf of side or oneself. And the Shadow attribute is resorting to violence in the name of a cause. And so there is this energy for next week of it, like people acting like a fool. People like it almost being unbelievable what's happening. Almost being like, I can't believe like this is happening. Why? And yeah, like just kind of like crying a bit about how ridiculous things are. And yeah, just being like, how could this be? How could this be is what I'm hearing. How could this be possible? Right? There is this desire, like with Libra being here and the Avenger showing up, it's like there's this desire to have justice, right? The desire to have balance and harmony and for things to make sense. And there's something about next week that just isn't making sense. Okay. All right. So that is the overall personality. Let's go into our tarot cards. Beginning of the week. Okay, so our first card for the week, to begin the week, is the Knight of Cups. And so the beginning of this week may be a little slow. It may feel like a little bit sleepy. There's this desire to feel comforted and to go after things that make us feel secure and just kind of really nurturing ourselves and nurturing our own emotions and being true to those feelings. And so I really feel like people are following their intuition. There's something with this Neptune and Aries, I want to mention. There's something with this Neptune Aries that does connect us more to the spiritual realm, that's more direct, that's more accurate. Because Neptune and Pisces, it kind of gives, I mean, it is at home, right? Neptune is in home at Pisces, but some shadow aspects are that it is illusory, it can be delusional, and I mean, when it's in, it's just like so watery and sometimes it may not be as clear. But Aries is a very direct sign. And so finding I've been noticing pings. If you feel like pinged, like you get those signals from spirit that I need to go here, I need to go there. Like, I don't know why, but there's just this feeling like I got to do it. I got to take action now. And there's just this direct connection from the divine into you that is being highlighted. So let's go into the middle of the week. Okay, so we have the Emperor and the World in reverse. The Emperor and the World in reverse. There's a lot of four energy. I also saw Four of Wands kind of pop out too. And this is like stability. A Four of Swords as well. A lot of fours. Four of Wands. I do feel like there is transformation in the mix too. So there is... All right, there may be some people dealing with some father wounds, is what I'm hearing. Like there's like something with the masculine in us that can feel really unraveled. I'm not sure if this is related to Chiron, the Chiron transit, but there's like this wounding that is coming up that needs to be addressed, and it can kind of turn our world upside down. It kind of feels like underneath as well, there's another message about there's this desire for this leadership to come out. There's desire to be seen. Like somebody here is like a leader. Somebody here is very strong, and you've already done the growth. You already know what to do. Like you should get promoted. You should get to that next level, but there's something that's keeping you small and keeping underneath. It's like you're hiding. It's like you're a leader in disguise. You're somebody that is very knowledgeable and an expert in your field, and yet not getting the recognition that you deserve. A more will probably come out with that, but let's go on towards the end of the week. And then we have the lovers. We have the lovers. We have the lovers, and the Chariot also came out kind of. It kind of fell out there. And there's like this two. Very diverse reading. Very diverse, because it's talking about balance. Temperance on the bottom of the deck. There is this need to come into balance, to be patient with somebody else. This could also be with yourself. So this is patience with patience with the other. So finding a stable ground, finding balance, finding harmony with someone. And what I'm hearing is about finding purpose, finding a common vision, a common thing to build towards. There is something about a long-term relationship. Why do you have a long-term relationship? Why do you think long-term with this person? Why is it there's a complex message. There was a time when these kinds of things didn't matter as much, but as we've evolved as human beings, our societies have evolved, there is this complexity. There's more than just being together. There's more than just I do this and you do that, and we're just here together. We're here together to just start and do like what society has always done, to follow the routine path and see what we see around us. There is a desire for a deeper connection and a deeper purpose behind your bond with somebody else. Why are we doing this? Why are we even spending the time and the effort and doing this work? What is the vision? What is the long term? What are we building? It's more than what is the usual thing. And it's like building something beautiful, building something with purpose. What will make the difficulties in a long-term relationship, what will make it last, what will make it worth it, is what is coming through. That's the message about that. So that is coming through very strongly at the end of the week. Purpose with potential, purpose with your person. Okay. And we are going to pull just one more card. and move on to the last messages. I do notice that there are a lot of major arcanas coming out this reading, and so there may be some major movements throughout the world in the larger picture this week that could affect our personal lives. So we have the Wheel of Fortune, the Hanged Man, and Justice. And these are all major arcana cards, by the way. So there is this need for justice. Still, once again, it came out last week, right? It's coming out this week, being a major theme. And it's like crying out for justice, crying out for what is right, what is due. Things not making sense, right? The Fool being the personality this week. Things are not making sense. It is unbelievable what is happening in your world. You're like, this isn't right. This isn't okay. Like, how do I shift? How do I change? And Spirit's like, you kind of need to take a step back and take a breath. And you need to create your own inner world. First, create from the inner world, and it comes out. And it resounds out. And how it's important to, as we talked about with the Knight of Cups, to take care of yourself, to take care of your inner world and your emotional world, and how important that is and how that reflects out in the world. But the Wheel of Fortune, there is like a major decision, there is a change that is going to happen during this week. Seeing things from a different perspective. But it's painful. There's a painful truth. This doesn't come easy. There's a painful truth here that doesn't come easy. And we talk about the Hangman in tarot as being like meditation, as waiting, as patience. But you think about the Hangman and they are still a hanged man. They're still hanging. And like the word is like execution, right? Execution. And there's many ways to take that. But how do you create balance? How do you create justice in your world? How do you make sense of things? You have to make a change. There is a shift that's happening. How do you want to shift? How do you want to see the situation? There's that quote is like, if you can't change the situation, then change your attitude. And that doesn't feel very good. It doesn't feel very like fair, but there's just certain situations where it's like, well, what can you do? What can you control? And having to make a major decision, have to make that pivot. The Wheel of Fortune is the 10. And so it's a completion of something and then moving on to the next thing. A new beginning. Okay. And our last few cards. What message do we have, Spirit, for the collective for this week? So the first card that we have is Friends. I love that. Lovers and friends. Friends. The most unlikely friendships can form. Like variegated lichens on hard rock, they create a tight bond. And so this is about community. This is about finding like-minded souls. Who can you rely on and who can give you some kind of support in these moments of things not making sense? And then we have Grounded. These are all advice from Spirit, by the way. Grounded. Keep to your roots and stand taller than the trees. How can you remain grounded? How can you, when things are up in the air, how can you plant your feet in the ground and still remain connected to the earth and to your body? And on the bottom of the deck is Dance. And so a lot of this is about like, almost like if the world is burning, if things are like unfair, if you can't make sense of things and it's difficult in this moment, just like difficult feelings it will pass. It won't be like this forever. And spirits are saying like, hey, in these moments, try to find joy. Try to get back in your body. Dancing is a great way to get back in your body and to call in more energy. Take a walk. Go out in nature. See people you love. Remember what's the most important things to you. And that is the message. That is the advice. And I hope that this message supported you in some way. Thank you for being here and sharing the sacred space and time with me. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, the Divine. And I will see you next week. Love you. Ciao.